Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to our live coverage of the third and final day of the 15th annual Brics conference happening here at the Sandton Convention Center. Let me welcome the Minister of Finance, Mr. Enoch Godongwana. Mr. Godongwana, thank you so much for joining us here on our makeshift studio here at the Sandton Convention Center on Hilaal TV.
Thank you for inviting me to the studio.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Minister Godongwana, everything is, of course, to economics and finance. Coming out of this and all the talk that happened yesterday on Tuesday during the Brics Business Forum, how confident are you that we as South Africa can see the economic growth that we want to see with the assistance of our Brics nations in terms of trade and economic policies?
If you look at the composition of countries that are here today, of the global south, and the size of their population, the markets, and the decision to deepen trade relationships and investment between these countries, that presupposes that South Africa is placed in a favorable position to utilize that opportunity effectively and therefore grow our economy.
Minister, there's a lot that we as South Africa would like to improve in terms of our GDP. 0.3% at this moment. We've still got 2 quarters to go. What do you think we would need to do with the help of our BRICS partners in terms of trade and investment to get it to at least over 1%?
Let me just say, one of the difficulties we face, and I think there's a correlation between what that and growth. If you look at our economy since 2008, all other countries suffered what is called the global financial crisis. But all of them picked up after 2010. South Africa, in the third quarter of 2010, we also began to pick up.
Yes.
But there's a correlation with that because also electricity outages happened in 2008.
Yes.
So if you look at that, the outage electricity had a serious impact on the South African growth trajectory. And in my view, there's strong correlation if you look at the numbers between that. Forget an additional dimension of state capture which impacted on some.
Yes.
But generally is the electricity. So we've got to get the electricity issue right. If you check what happened on Tuesday, one of the agreements signed by Minister of Electricity in China is kits that are whatever is equipment that's being donated by China using different instruments to help us deal with the emergency in electricity. So that's a BRICS endeavor. So we working with a number of countries at least to cross the short-term challenges. The NDB with the BRICS Bank is looking at the member countries to say what expertise and things that could be done to help us cross this fundamental challenge. So the BRICS stable is supportive of our efforts in order to achieve growth.
And that's when I bring it in the role that obviously the Reserve Bank, Treasury, and the National Development Bank, all three of these organizations, their role in making sure that developing countries like ourselves and the rest of BRICS see not only economic growth but ethical investment within the countries in areas which are needed in it.
Yeah, of course. All of these things. The Reserve Bank is strong on that. The NDB is strong on that, and Treasury is strong on that ethical investment. The question is, it doesn't have to be these two institutions again. You have to instill a culture, an ethical culture within our society, and that's a battle that we need to fight.
One final question, Minister, because I know you have to go. Yesterday, I had Dr. Khosenzo Ramokgopa, and he mentioned the green energy, the just transition. How important is that going to be when that does happen? Of course, phased out in the right manner, because we cannot exclude the coal community within Mpumalanga also. But how much is that going to help the future growth in our country and see it in a way that we as South Africans want to see the economic growth that we all dream of?
No, Dr. Ramokgopa and I think we're on the same page. We first and foremost, our preoccupation is got to get power to the grid. Whether it's coal or anything else, for now, we need power to the grid.
Yes.
The next set of issues is to develop a transition route to a low carbon economy. What that transition route must do must take into account a number of factors. For instance, most of your coal mines and your coal power stations, you can imagine one coal mine and one coal power station is about 5,000 people. And 13 of these things are in one region. You must take into account that social dislocation that can happen if you simply close them down. So what that means, if you simply close down, you can't take into account that social dislocation. It means you have eliminated the just component of that transition. So Dr. Mokgopa is saying, how do we manage that just transition and make sure that it demonstrates its justness?
Minister Godongwana, thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal TV. We hope to have you soon at our studios to discuss more about economics and finance within our country.
I'll definitely come.
No, we're waiting for that. Thank you so much, Minister Godongwana. That's
Thank
Minister
you so
Enoch Godongwana, the Minister of Finance. To stay tuned to Hilaal TV as we bring you the closing moments, of course, of the 2023 Annual Brics Summit.